Hi, good evening, everyone. First, I wanted to go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Darcy, and I'm on creative strategy. And I'm here with Echo, who is art direction, as well as Will, who is copywriting. So we're here today to discuss the Miami Ad School online program. We all need to have a creative outlet, a window, a space, so we don't lose ourselves, so we don't lose track of ourselves. This was a quote from Zuketsugu Norman Fisher, who is a poet, writer, and Soto Zen priest. For the Miami Ad School online program, we are targeting professionals in their 30s, professionals who are innately creative but have found themselves in jobs or careers that they are unhappy in, feeling that their professional life is unrewarding. These professionals have successfully made it to mid-level, but now they feel stuck. We'd like to introduce you to creatively frustrated Frank. Frank is 32. He lives with his girlfriend in Chicago. He works as a manager for the Hampton Inn, although really he wants to work in their marketing department. He's financially secure and enjoys a steady job, but deep down, Frank still wants to be a writer. Frank's been known to bring little creative touches to his work at the hotel, like arranging the fruit at breakfast to spell smile. He fills his spare time with creative projects, and his friends often come to Frank for help with their business cards, websites, or resumes. Creatively unfulfilled, Frank wants to make a career change. He knows that now is the right time to act, but he's not sure how to switch paths. Proving his talent to potential employers also seems like an overwhelming challenge. We believe that in order to reach our target, we need to go back to the roots of the Miami Ad School. The Miami Ad School as a destination for portfolio development, offering an a la carte selection of continuing education classes geared towards creating a portfolio and connections to land a job in advertising and beyond. Here are some snippets of the stories of graduates thus far. We have Ryan Kutcher, who is currently founded his own agency, Circus Maximus, and he's quoted saying, "I began my career the day I started Miami Ad School." And then we have Roberto, who is now a creative director, and he tells us that there is no way I could have gotten this book together on my own. And finally, we have the fact that Massa's global network means lots of industry connections that essentially will help you land your first job. What our target wants: a creatively fulfilling job, but they don't know how to make it a reality. How we can help them: unlock a creative life and a fulfilling career with the Miami Ad School online.
And here comes our first concept. Creativity is nothing but a mindset free. What's keeping you from being creative? Maybe a job you don't love, maybe some old traditions and rules. Maybe you just need you just need to be more brave to take one more step further and make the change. When you are doing something you have to do, when you are doing something you don't love, so you feel you get stuck. You don't have the freedom, and you feel you're like a prison, even though you are not put into a prison. So our first concept is break free, be creative. And Miami Ad School Online gives you an opportunity to start your creative career and leave your boring job. So it's someone who is working and with the handcuff on his hands. And here's our next concept. I don't know if any of one have this feeling. In the morning, when you wake up, when the alarm rings, you get so mad that you want to throw your phone out of the window. When that happens, when you don't want to do the things. So these two alarms. When you are doing something you don't love, you set the alarm every single minute to make sure that you will wake up in the morning. But if you are doing something you like, from the bottom of your heart, you don't need the alarm to wake you up. It's your dream that wakes you up. And yeah, if you found something you really love, you wake up before the alarm.
Then finally, here's a little lanyap execution. So these would be graffiti-inspired math-style murals to really impart the vibe of Miami Ad School into markets that don't have a campus, right? So these are the students that really miss out on one of the major selling points of math, which is a space where you can be creative in a vibe that inspires you. So really, the reason a lot of us, I think, chose advertising as a career is that it's a middle ground between a very prestigious career and a very creatively flexible career. So in many ways, it's like having your cake and eating it too, right? So I thought this was kind of a funny image. Don't blame Echo for the art. It would be like a flamingo balancing a cake on his back, and he's missing a slice, and the slice is creativity, and he has success on his back. And probably also work in the online component more in the art. Um, but I think these would be great little out-of-home executions. Thank you.
Guys. So I think your presentation is pretty, and it might just because it's pink, but that's smart because the school's colors are pink. But I think the design is really nice. So I just wanted to get that out. It just struck me in the beginning. I loved that you opened with that quote. I thought that was a really nice setting the stage and sort of inspirational, for where you're going to go. And I love your description of the audience, not just in sort of the bullet points, which, they made sense and they were a good story. I don't always love bullet points. As a planner, you want to try to, but they were clear and they were the right points. Do you know what I mean? And they made a really strong description that I knew who this person was right away, right? And I get them, and that's important. And like you hit on the right, there's a really good job of hitting on all the right aspects of their kind of needs and their life stage and relevant to this issue, right, of where they are for their career, and that they are innately creative. All those things were really great. Creatively frustrated Frank, I love a good headline, and one that captures kind of the core tension, which is what you really tapped into. And I thought that your description there was also spot on. What then you went on to talk about that Miami Ad School. So this is just presentation feedback for a second. You're talking about creatively frustrated Frank. It's all great, and then you then make a statement about what Miami Ad School needs to do. Go back to their roots. That needs a slide because that's not about that just needs a sort of a moment. You're sort of breaking a transition, and it's not about Frank. And I'm still looking at Frank like, what's she saying? So you just it's an important point. But I also need a transition from Frank as to why you're saying that Miami Ad School needs to go back to its roots. There must be something about the landscape that and where it's gone today that maybe brought you there. And so maybe there's an opportunity for a slide to help us in that journey in your story as well, to understand when it lost its roots. That part was missing for me. I'm just believing you on it. And then you talk a little bit about that. And I think you had some other slides about the strengths of Miami Ad School, right? The reasons to believe, kind of the network, like where they started their job, the stories, the stories, and then the global network. Those are all great sort of the core benefits that become reasons to believe of this brand, right? Miami Ad School and this experience, online learning, and how you can get access to those things. But then you go back to the target need. Do you know what I mean? So it's just you want to keep your flow a little bit. And I feel like you could just finish your thought on your target, what they really want. That's going to be more impactful when you describe who they are, kind of what their life stage is, and then what they really want. And then you solve it with what Miami Ad School can offer. It's because of the stories and the network. Do you see how that story flows as a brand building kind of brief? What I would want to challenge you on this is your language here. Go back to the insight. Because this is true, and what we want to make, because I know you have language that you've shown it in other presentations and in this presentation. I don't get the tingles yet. Like there's something that is, I think, a little more true of why they don't know how to make it a reality. And I think if you look at the last execution about where success meets creativity, there might be something that sparks even from that, that maybe there's a perception about creativity not, earning a paycheck. I don't know, but or it's not valid, or maybe they're not competent enough to make a living. Maybe they make creative thoughts, but it's not making a living. You want that kind of, you want a little. Okay, that's a great insight, right? That's like maybe the first step. So work on that, and then can I see your strategy again? Sorry, because I was writing that down. Unlock a creative life and fulfilling career with Mammy at School. So when there's an and, that's two things, and that's a very simple way. It's a very dumbed down way for me to give you feedback. That's like a flag, right? You shouldn't have two benefits, right? What is the core thing that the online experience of Miami Ad School will give these people stuck in a rut who have not even proven it to themselves, right? You can work on it. There's some more powerful thought that will capture both of those things.
I think that your strategy was great. It's always nice to hear presenting, but I think that it would be amazing, and this goes to all of you guys. Instead of maybe reading it too much, like try not to relay too much on the paper, because that takes away the attention of maybe someone else can read it as well. You know what I mean? And you're doing it in a great way. Like it's not that it sounds like you're reading and it's like that. It's you present very good. So I'm just missing that persona. You know what I mean? That when you leave the paper down, it's like, oh, it sounds better that you own it. So it's great. I think that your strategy was spot on. I love the description of the audience. You always do a great job on, making, okay, this name, this person, this is how it goes. Like it's always bottom up in that way. So it's great. But in the creative, I think that I like the third idea the most in terms of like the art direction or the legs that maybe I can see on that one from a concept standpoint. But still, I think that I'm missing on this one from overall concept standpoint, the online e-learning portion. You know what I mean? Like this, I love the posters. Don't get me wrong. Like it's super cool. Like eat your come on, have your cake and eat it too. Like super cool. I like it. Like I think it's a clever, take on it. But still, I think that can work for Miami at School general advertising. I think that the e-learning component, it doesn't come across really in the executions as it kind of does in the strategy. But that's it. I think that it's more about, making the e-learning come home. That's it. Thank you. Hello. So while the other team sets it up, at the end, we're going to do the famous draw again for the groups. It's mandatory from the school. They told us the direction that you guys needed to be, again, shuffled in teams for the final portion of the bootcamp. It's part of, again, the reality of it that, yes, we can get comfortable with the teams we have already, but at the same time, it's good to have a fresh perspective, dealing with different creatives, a different planner, and that really helps you come home with the real mission and purpose of this class.